Hey, y'all, welcome to the GI Justin channel. Thanks for showing up today. I got some big news for you again. Something that, again, has not happened in our nation's history is happening again. And here we are. Basically, what's going on right now is our financial market is being altered from enemies of our country. And basically, what is happening is the latest data shown to us by Bloomberg International, who's a big company that tracks the finances of the entire world, and in a lot of ways has a lot of hands in a lot of things, has basically said that the Chinese yuan has overthrown the U.S. dollar in monthly trading volume for the first time ever, which means basically that the yuan is the most important currency in the entire world, no longer the U.S. dollar. Man, that is, in terms of the decline of our nation, some shocking news. And how can it be that in our own markets, our own dollar is not even the most traded thing? A big portion of this is that China and Russia have kind of teamed up between the ruble and the yuan, and they're utilizing it to facilitate trade between each other and the other countries that they deal with. And basically, they're going to utilize the yuan as the form of basic currency for trading between them and all the other countries of the world that they operate with. It's a great way for them to attempt to poison the United States from the inside, basically making our dollar significantly less valuable than it was. So the thing that's scary about this is, as the last couple of months have progressed, this change from the dollar as the global standard to the yuan has only increased in volume. And you have to ask yourself, if our stock exchange and our currency exchanges are where this is happening, how are we not doing more about this? What is America not doing? And I really think it's really significant in terms of the health of our nation when you look at something, yet again, that has never happened in the history of our country, and here we are. We're seeing the prominence of the dollar go into a big time downward spiral, in my opinion. And I think a big part of that has to do with a bunch of these different factors that are all facing us all at once. Again, just another perfect storm of what's happening to us in the world. So, why is our dollar losing its value intrinsically and externally in the world right now? First big one is very obvious: hyperinflation. So the thing we're seeing here with hyperinflation is we're seeing on average about 8% ish inflation across the spectrum. But in terms of our critical materials, we're seeing inflation upwards of 50%. We talked in a recent episode about how eggs are being smuggled in from Mexico into the United States right now. And consider that, you know, if you had, hey, on your little world bingo board, smuggled eggs into the United States from Mexico as your thing this month, raise your hand, because I sure didn't. Again, smuggling eggs, great, that's outstanding. But this hyperinflation, you're seeing a lot of our core critical needed consumer items in excess of 50% markup right now, and we're not getting paid more. So that's a big problem in terms of our money. The second one I would say is political and economic disorder. The last time we saw activities like this was when the stock market crashed in 1929. You've got very ultra rich, very ultra poor, and a political structure that can't get anything done. Nothing but gridlock and nothing but argument based on, not making any effort whatsoever to come together and do things for the betterment of the people of the United States. And as a big portion of that, the next thing that kind of plays together with that is war is a big factor in this economic instability. Now, in the 1940s and into the early 50s, what brought us out of the Great Depression was World War II. We were able to weaponize the war, in a manner of speaking, to put America to work. You had millions and millions of American men now drawing a paycheck from Uncle Sam. You had millions and millions of disabled men or unable to fight men, along with women working in the factories and doing everything they could to make America win this war, which was drawing paychecks, paying taxes, and dragging us out of the Depression. But in this instance, we're not actually in a war. We're taking part in one, but we actually aren't in it. We're leveraging untold sums of cash in the billions of dollars and eliminating our stockpile of weapons to give to Ukraine. So by this proxy war, but not actual war, what we're really doing is siphoning money out of our economy. And, we looked into this earlier with the Social Security, which I did in a previous episode, where basically they've pushed a year closer to where we won't be able to fully fund Social Security. It will be depleted. So now we're down another year in that, and they're saying it's going to get worse as we get closer to it. So the next kind of point I think that we see when it comes to the devaluing of the dollar and the downward spiral that it's in is recession. Now, depending on who you talk to, they say we're not in a recession. I think a lot of people will say that we really have. I mean, the stock market and the cryptocurrency market have both taken massive hits. A lot of stuff is way devalued to where it used to be. So there's definitely pressure on the financial system. And then, a long term with that, the question is, can we have a soft landing, or what kind of landing are we going to see? And I think the jury's still out. They're going to raise the interest rate more points again, which further weakens the dollar and puts the yuan in an even stronger position. So the final one that I'm really thinking about it in these terms is the labor market. The labor market greatly affects the dollar. And as a small business owner, I'm here to tell you, one of the things that I see happening is the labor market, the metrics are actually lying to us when it comes into what the labor market is doing. And I say that to say this, it takes more for me to employ a new worker and to train them and to actually gain them than ever in my entire life. I mean, the amount of money we have to spend to gain them and the ability just to get them is critically difficult. Across the entire mall, I would say I'm one of maybe a few stores that is mostly staffed. I mean, the amount of money we're having to put out to get people to work is crazy. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the labor market decline. All these jobless numbers come out, all these new jobs created numbers. The thing is, these jobs numbers do not equate for one critical fact, and that is the number of people taking a second job. It's just jobs created. It's not, hey, this dude has 2 jobs now. This guy has 3 jobs because eggs cost $7, a dozen. So the numbers for the economics, I think, in terms of the labor market are vastly overstated, which kind of goes with everything else. All this other stuff's kind of overstated, and none of them are really in our favor, which kind of leads to why the yuan is taking over the way it is, even with Russia and China freely admitting that they're basically trying to cut the dollar completely out of the situation. So what's the answer? Is the dollar being poisoned, and are we in decline? I think, the dollar will always have a special status, in my opinion, because the United States economy is so strong and we continue to grow at a decent rate. So do I think they're poisoning the dollar? I think it's questionable. I think more than anything, the fact that our money is backed by the global reserve is super helpful. And I think they're going to continue to do their best to poison it. And we have to respond both fiscally and, fiscally as Americans with how we spend our money and what we buy to ensure that the dollar remains the global standard. Because right now we're not seeing a lot of policy out of Washington for any real purpose related to these things. They want to talk about CBDC and cryptocurrency and all these different things, but they're not discussing the failures of the dollar right now. And I think that's the biggest problem that we're seeing in these things. So I think time will tell, and that's something that we're going to continue to drill down on and focus on. So thank you guys so much for watching the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the comments. It's really cool to be able to discuss all this stuff with you guys and kind of work our way forward through all these issues. So there's going to be a little helicopter down here in the corner. If you want to, go ahead and hit that button and subscribe to the channel so I can keep bringing you this info, because it shows me what you guys are enjoying, and I really appreciate that. So thank you guys so much, and have an awesome day.